What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fan, 49er gang? This is your boy Niner Gang Podcast back with another video. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything NFL and San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, let's get right on into it, man. This was a crazy divisional round weekend, man. I'm talking about some hard-fought games to some stellar games with big numbers. So let's jump right on into it. So we already talked about the 49ers and the Packers. I did a whole show on that, so I don't have to delve too deep into it as far as that is concerned. But what we do need to talk about is the other games that happened this weekend, and let's jump right on into it. So the first game on tap was the Bengals versus the Titans. Now this was a back and forth game, a defensive battle. It was just up and down, and the numbers are going to shock you because it makes absolutely no sense on how on earth this game came to the resolution that it did. So when you take a look at it, the Bengals win 19-16. So Cincinnati scored in all four quarters of the game, whereas Tennessee only scored in the second and in the third quarter. Joe Burrow, 28-37, 348 yards, one interception, and the man was sacked 9 times. That's insane. That is just ridiculously crazy that man was sacked 9 times through one interception, and he still won the game. I mean, the only difference between him and Jimmy is the numbers on the pass yards, and it was crazy, for him to be sacked that much. That tells you that Bengals offensive line is seriously suspect, and Kansas City is fairly good. So they're going to have they work cut out for them, man. It's going to be serious in ways you can't imagine because you can't do that. Hey, what's going on, Andy Smith? You can't do that against KC. They'll eat you alive. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to score a lot more than 16 damn points. Just be mindful of that. So we flip to the rushing. Joe Mixon, 14 carries, 54 yards, and 1 TD. Then you go ahead and go over to receiving. Jamar Chase, 5 catches for 109. T. Higgins, 7 for 96. C.J. Uzomah, 7 for 71. Joe Mixon, 6 for 51. Tyler Boyd, 2 for 17. I mean, when you look at the receiving numbers, it doesn't look as bad, but still, no touchdowns. The only touchdown was one rushing as far as the offense goes. Then you flip to the other side of the ball. You look at the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Top dog, Logan Wilson. I've been talking about him all year. I've been telling y'all this dude is a monster. 8 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 pass defense, and a QB hit. Von Bell came in with 6 tackles, a sack, and a TFL. DJ Reader had 2 TFLs and 6 tackles. The other sacks came from – there was only 1 sack this game. There were 5 tackles for a loss, and then 1 sack was from Von Bell. Then you go ahead and you look at the Cincinnati team. Interceptions. They had 3 interceptions. Mike Hilton, Logan Wilson, and Jesse Bates. So that's 3 INTs, man. And y'all only wound up – what's going on, Brandon? Well, good morning, Taryn. What's up, John B? 3 interceptions, and all y'all had was a measly 19 points. That's all bad, bro. That's really bad. That means that, the offense definitely wasn't getting it going. So that tells you that Tennessee's defense was even that much better. So when you're starting to take a look at things, that means that what do we have? Evan McPherson, 4 for 4. That man was kicking field goal after field goal after field goal after field goal. And he did his damn job, man, and he won them the game. That is exactly how that happened. Flip to the other side of the ball. Ryan Tannehill, 15-24, 220 yards, 1 TD, and 3 interceptions. That's how you lose this game. Both quarterbacks threw 3 interceptions. So that means both defenses were on top of things. They were out there balling, doing exactly what they were supposed to do. So that's an insane amount of interceptions, 6 interceptions in one game. And that tells you that it's flat out ridiculous that we have to we have to deal with that stuff. Nah, man, I can't even go. I forgot my my wife is having surgery on Thursday, so I will not be able to travel. Because if I did want to go to the game, I would have had to call my mom's and have her buy my ticket because the Rams are not selling tickets to anyone without a California address. Like literally, people are up on Twitter saying, "I'll buy your tickets for you that are 49er fans. If you Venmo them the money and Cash App them the money, or however which way you do it." Basically, because they literally are not trying to sell you a ticket if you do not have a California address, because they are trying to keep us out of that stadium, and we'll get to that. But when it goes back to the Titans. Look at that, man. This is an exposure of Ryan Tannehill. Why everybody was jumping on Ryan Tannehill's nuts and crowning him king, saying he was the greatest thing since sliced bread, all that good stuff. He showed you who he really was against a stellar defense. The Bengals defense is not to be played with. They are a good defense. Even though they sacked him once, they picked him off 3 times. That's just the pick is just as good as the sack. The only difference is the sack just stops them for that down. The pick turns the ball over back to your offense. So Deontay Foreman, 4 carries for 66 yards. King Henry, 20 carries for 62 yards, 3.1 yards per carry, and a TD. So they only scored 1 touchdown rushing as well. And then you go over to A.J. Brown, 5 for 142 with a TD. So they scored 2 TDs. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Things did and didn't work out for them. I believe they tried to go for a 2-point conversion. It must have failed because it's the only way you can wind up with 16 points logically. So yeah, because they scored 6 in the second and 10 in the third. Julio Jones, 6 catches for 62 yards. It's mediocre for him. You know, Julio usually has way bigger numbers. Then Dontrell Hilliard, 3 for 13. The rest of the guys is nothing. You know, 24 targets, 9 and 7 of them went to A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. The rest, not much left. That's all. 9 and 7 is already 16. So it is what it is. Flip to the other side of the defense for the Bengals. Zach Cunningham, 10 tackles. Jeffrey Simmons, 8 tackles and 3 sacks. Then you have David Long Jr. with the sack. Harold Landry III with a sack and a half. Danico Autry with a sack and a half. Bud Dupree with the sack. Kyle Pecco and Naquan Jones combined for a sack. 9 sacks in this game, people. And they still lost the game on a field goal. That is definitely a heartbreaker. Tennessee did have an interception as well, obviously with Amani Hooker. And then, their kicker, Randy Bullock, was 1 for 1. So in this game right here, man, this was just a hard-fought game. It was back and forth with defense, with, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of the games. But Cincinnati pulled it out, man. And that tells you right there that it is a ridiculous type of situation when, you wind up winning that on a game-winning field goal, because that's exactly what happened. They gave it to him, man. They gave him a game-winning field goal. It was really hard, and, it's ridiculous. Look at the drives. Let's go through the first half. Bengals, field goal. Tennessee, punt. Bengals, punt. Tennessee, punt. Bengals, field goal. Tennessee, punt. Bengals, punt. Tennessee, touchdown. Bengals, field goal. Punt. End of the half. You know what I mean? Then you go into the second half. The Bengals open the second half with a touchdown. Then an interception by the Tennessee Titans. Then the Bengals punt. Then you jump over to, let's see here, a field goal by the Titans. Then there's another interception thrown by Burrow. Then there's a touchdown by the Titans. Then there's a punt. Turnover on downs by the Titans. Punt by the Bengals. Interception by the Tennessee Titans. Then, interception by the Cincinnati Bengals. And basically their last drive was Joe Burrow pass deep right to Jamar Chase at Tennessee 34 for 19 yards. Joe mixing up the middle for 2 yards. A couple of timeouts. Joe Burrow passed to the Tennessee 34 for minus 2 yards. Timeout by Cincinnati. Evan McPherson, 52-yard field goal. So Burrow did sort of the same thing that Jimmy kind of did, just by getting us close enough to get that field goal and get that W. And that's basically how that game wound up happening. But that was a hard-fought game, man. Shout out to both defenses. definitely that was an entertaining game to be able to watch. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I only got a chance to see these stats. But that's Bengals win, man. They are in the AFC Championship for the first time in forever. Last time I remember them being in the AFC Championship was I guess in 1989. Shit, at least that's what I remember. Bengals ain't been formidable for a while. So that game is over, man. And then we go ahead and we play. But like I said, I've already talked about us. So we pretty much are done. First game of yesterday was the Rams versus the Buccaneers, man. And that was a hell of a game to watch. I was in and out of it, but I watched some of it, man. And it was all up and down. It was everywhere. There was scoring in every quarter by the Rams. The Bucs only scored in the first, third, and the fourth. They did not score at all in the second quarter, and I think that's probably what hurt them because they only lost the game 30-27. So the Rams scored 10 in the first, 10 in the second, 7 in the third, 3 in the fourth, and the Bucs go 3 in the first, 10 in the fourth, 10 in the third, and 14 in the fourth. But hell of a game by both teams, man. This was a hard-fought joint. You can't take anything away from either guy. When you look at it, the numbers aren't ridiculously stellar, but it is what it is. Matthew Stafford, 28-38, 366, and 2 TDs. He did take 2 sacks. Tom Brady, 30-54, 6.1 yards per carry, 6.1 yards per throw, 1 TD, 1 interception, and he took 3 sacks. So look at, and then here you go. Here's where the problem lies. Rushing. 14 carries, 51 yards. 13 of those carries were Leonard Fournette. He did have 2 touchdowns. But you ran the ball 14 times and threw it 54 fucking times? That is insane. Insane. Like that is a lopsided affair when it comes to it. That tells me you don't trust your run game at all. Or because you didn't have certain people on the O-line, you didn't feel like it was going to be able to work. But that is a real insane amount of rush of pass versus rush, man. 54-14. Like that's crazy. That's 40 times more that you threw the ball than you ran the ball. And for him to have 2 TDs, I mean, damn, that's crazy numbers, man. But then you look at the attack for the Rams, they ran the ball 30 times. 24 carries for 48 yards with Cam Akers, 1 for 15 with Van Jefferson. So, and then Matthew Stafford, he scored a touchdown. So that's exactly what happens. And even though you heard that right there, we'll get to that, man. He is unbelievable. You go ahead and go over to the receiving. Cooper Kupp, 9 catches, 183 yards, 20.3 yards per catch and a touchdown. The man's long was a 70-yard bomb by Matthew Stafford. 6 catches for 69 yards for Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Higbee, 4 for 51. And then the rest of the guys all had small yardage. You flip over to the Tampa Bay spot, 8 for 119 for Mike Evans and a touchdown. Gronk had 4 for 85. Fournette, 9 for 56. Scotty Miller, 4 for 38. The rest of the guys had a small amount. Then you go to LA fumbles. Cam Akers fumbled twice, lost both of them. Cooper Kupp fumbled. Brian Allen fumbled. And all of these were lost. The only one there is, I think, Von Miller, I guess he fumbled, but he recovered it. I don't know. Oh, no, he recovered a fumble. I'm sorry. So you got to think about that. The Rams fumbled 4 times. And where are we at? Like, you got to look at that, man. You got to turn that into points every single time, whether it be 3 or 7. One of the two. You got to do that because that's just not going to work. You get 4 turnovers and they hand them to you like that. You got to take advantage of that and blow their ass out. When it comes to the Bucs, Tom Brady fumbled and he lost it, but that was the only fumble on the docket with the sacks. The Rams had a sack by Aaron Donald, a sack by Leonard Floyd, and who else had it? It says they had 3 sacks. Where the heck is that other sack? Okay, Von Miller. Sorry, it was like all clumped up into one. Sometimes your eyes get crossed when you do too much. David Long Jr. had the situation where he was the leading tackler along with Darius Williams. You flip to the other side of the ball. Levante David, 11 tackles. And Dominican Sue shared a half a sack with JPP. Vita Vea had a sack as well. So that was pretty much it, And these guys were doing everything that they could. The interception from the Rams came from Nick Scott. You know, Matt Gay was 3 out of 4. Ryan Suckup 2 out of 3. So both of the kickers basically missed one of those. And it's crazy, man, because you would love to have, your kicker make every field goal. Even if they miss all the field goals, you still need to make the one that counts. But I'd rather him be 100%, as it was with the Bengals and Titans. But man, that was a hell of a game. It was a hard fought game, and it comes down to who wants it more and who can make things happen. And like I said, not scoring in that second quarter is what killed the Bucs, because other than that, they only lost the game by 3, man. And it doesn't lead the fact to say that you got blown out or anything. It was a close game, and that's just basically, what went down. So let's take a look at these drives toward the end of the game in the second half. And basically, LA comes out with a punt. Tampa Bay punts. LA scores a touchdown. Tampa Bay gets a field goal. LA fumbles. The Bucs capitalize off that with a TD. LA punts. Then the Bucs fumble. LA fumbles. Tampa Bay turns it over on downs. LA misses the field goal. Tampa Bay turns it over on downs again. LA punts. Then there's a touchdown. Now LA gets the ball back, and now there's another fumble. So Tampa Bay does what? They get a touchdown, tie the game up, 27-27, man. So you look and you go, okay, this is serious. This might go into OT. 1st and 10 at the Rams 25. Matthew Stafford, sack. That was the one with Sue and JPP. Second down. Oh, and there was a timeout by the Rams. Second down. Matthew Stafford, deep pass to Cooper Kupp to the LA 44 for 20 yards. Matthew Stafford, deep pass to the middle for none other than who? Cooper Kupp to the Tampa Bay 12, a 44-yard bomb. So Matthew Stafford spikes the ball right with about 3 or 4 seconds left, kick the field goal, win the game. And that tells you, man, that Matthew Stafford, he drove down the field and he did what he was supposed to do and made it happen, man. And I can appreciate that, bro. Stafford's got a live-ass arm. Everybody knows that. And when he's got the right target to throw to, you better cover that target, because he's hard to stop if you don't. I know OBJ has become a viable threat, and he's been working with him, and they've been, their chemistry is ever increasing, and that's a nice thing. But it's the hard situation where if you don't stop Cooper Kupp, you ain't stopping the Rams, man. So shout out to the Rams. NFC Championship game is set. It will be us and the Rams. In the AFC Championship will be the Bengals and the Chiefs. So we'll see what happens with that. Now let's go to the game of the night. I told y'all in my picks this would be a shootout. I told y'all it was going to be a shootout. No one else thought it was going to be a shootout, man. And I knew it. And they proved me right, bro. Let me tell you, this Bills versus Chiefs game was a goddamn shootout. So, but both teams scored through all 4 quarters. This game went to OT. So you got 7 by Kansas City and Buffalo in the first, 7 by Kansas City and Buffalo in the second, 7 by Buffalo in the third, 9 by Kansas City in the third. Then you got 15 by Buffalo in the fourth and 13 by Kansas City in the fourth. So there's 36 points by both teams, man. So you got to wind up going to OT. But let's look at how this unfolds. It is flat out ridiculous. Josh Allen, 27 of 37, 329 yards, 4 TDs, and the man only took 2 sacks. Josh Allen, 11 of 60, 11 carries for 68 yards rushing. The man has 6.2 yards per carry. The way he can keep a play alive is flat out unfucking believable. That young man is a star. Then you look at the rushing for the Bills outside of Josh Allen, and it's pretty bad. Devin Singletary, 10 carries for 26 yards. That man had 2.6 yards per carry, but he did score TD, so that does matter. And then Isaiah McKenzie, 3 carries for 15 yards. Not much. Gabriel Davis. Let me tell y'all something. If you don't know who Gabriel Davis is, you better figure out who the hell that young man is. He is a bona fide star in this league. Gabriel Davis literally had 8 catches for 201 yards in all 4 of Josh Allen's TDs. That is a flat out ridiculous amount of yardage for a young man. And he tied a record. I think he set a record. He did something that even Jerry Rice didn't do, I believe, I guess, with the way he was scoring touchdowns. There's some type of record he set. I don't remember what, but he set a record this weekend, man, and it was ridiculously insane. 8 catches for 201 yards, 25.1 yards per catch, 4 TDs, and he had 10 targets. So that means he only dropped 2 balls. That was ridiculous. Gabriel Davis was on fire. If you bet on that man and took the under in any way, you maxed out on your earnings. Crazy, crazy stuff, man. And this is where the discrepancy comes in. I just told y'all Gabriel Davis had 201 yards. Cole Beasley, 6 for 60. Devin Singletary, 4 for 25. Emmanuel Sanders, 1 for 16. Stephon Diggs, supposed to be the guy you brought over to be able to help your franchise be better, be great, do all of these things. Stephon Diggs had 3 catches for 7 yards. The man wasn't even a factor. Gabriel Davis was the guy you had to worry about. He was eating them alive. And that's insane, man. That is fucking insane when you look at those numbers from an offensive standpoint. Now let's flip to the other side of the ball, man. You got to talk about Mr. Mahomes here. So Patrick Mahomes, 33 of 44, 378 yards, 3 TD. He also took 2 sacks. He ran 7 times for 69 yards and a touchdown. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 7 carries for 60 yards. He averaged 8.6 yards. Mecole Hardman, 2 carries for 31 yards and a touchdown. Old Tired Legs McKinnon, 10 carries for 24 yards, 2.4 yards per carry. Wah, wah, wah. So then you flip over to receiving. Tyreek Hill, 11 for 150, but he only had 1 TD. Travis Kelce, 8 for 96. He had a TD. Jerick McKinnon, 5 for 54, no touchdowns. Byron Pringle, 5 for 29, 1 TD. So these are all the things that happen. You know what I mean? So when you look at the numbers, Gabriel Davis outperformed, Tyreek Hill and blew him out the box with touchdowns, but still, either way, it was a crazy game. So there was a fumble by Josh Allen, but he recovered it. Jerick McKinnon also fumbled, but it was recovered. So when you look into this, let's flip to the defensive side of the ball. Matt Milano, 11 tackles. So the sacks came from Taron Johnson and Ed Oliver. They had 5 TFLs, didn't have any passes defense. Looks like Patrick Mahomes was just a magician all night pretty much. Kansas City defense, Daniel Sorensen with 9 tackles, along with L'Jarius Sneed with 9 tackles. Honey Badger went out early in this game. He wound up in concussion protocol. Hopefully he is able to make it back for the AFC Championship game because that is a big blow for them, even though they were able to finish the game without him, pretty easily. Just the unfortunate thing was, Josh Allen lit their ass up when he was throwing that ball, man. His balls, paws are so pretty when he throws them, man. It's ridiculous how he can put it on a line and he can zip it in either with accuracy, and it's straight up crazy, man. So when you take a look at it, the sacks came from Jaron Reed and Melvin Ingram III, who has been doing fairly well. No interceptions thrown by either quarterback. When you look at the field goal kicking, Harrison Butker was 3 out of 4. Tyler Bass, he didn't even have any field goals, but he did make all his extra points. So Butker was 3 out of 4 with the field goals and 3 out of 4 with the extra points as well. This game came down to basically a unfortunate situation, and I watched the game, so I'll tell you this is exactly how this happened. There was 13 seconds left on the clock. The Bills had just went up. Josh Allen had just scored a touchdown to put them up 36. And it sucks. It really sucks because you go up, you score, everything is working perfectly. There's 13 seconds left on the clock, and you opt to kick the ball out of the end zone and leave it in Josh Allen's hands. You gave that man 13 seconds, and I believe they had at least 2 to 3 timeouts. You don't give Josh. You don't give. I'm sorry, not Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. You don't give Patrick Mahomes any time on the clock. Even if you give that man 1 damn second, it's too long. The man will make you pay for it. And he did. Special teams coordinator, I'd have squib kicked the shit out of that ball. I'd have squib kicked it and I'd have tried to make sure that I made them go ahead and have to recover that ball and tell my special teams, be on your P's and Q's, tackle properly, don't allow anyone to get past you, and do it that way because you take a couple extra seconds off the clock. Or if anything, try to tell your kicker to hang it in the air as long as he possibly can because, the minute they touch that ball, they're going to have to run. You're not going to fair catch it and pin your team inside like the 10 or the 5 or whatever. So then the next thing you know, what happens? They kick the ball off. It goes out of the back of the end zone. Patrick Mahomes has the ball with 13 seconds left, and they start playing prevent defense. Prevent defense don't do nothing but get you beat. It makes you lose games. That's exactly what prevent defense does, and that's the unfortunate situation. So what happened? They went to that prevent defense, and they walked down the damn field. Let's go through the sequence of things, and this is exactly what I mean when you can't be playing prevent against people like that. If you play prevent and you're up so far that they have to score twice, then you're okay. But if you play prevent and you only have a 1-score game, you are doing nothing but shooting yourself in the foot, have 3 safeties deep, but have your DBs playing, within a 5-yard radius of those receivers because they have to at least be able to jam them, knock them off their routes, or do something. You cannot continually play prevent defense and think you're going to win a game because it only gets you beat. So on this last drive, right here, and this was actually, I apologize. This was a field goal. This was by a field goal here. So Buffalo goes up 36-33. So on that last drive, he kicked off. It was a touchback. Patrick Mahomes passed to Tyreek Hill. He gets 19 yards. Then there was a timeout by Kansas City and another timeout by Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes passed to Travis Kelce to Buffalo 31 for 25 yards. So you're already in field goal range at that point. You're not even tripping out. Timeout by Kansas City. Harrison Butker comes on, 49-yard field goal. And that's that. Then you go ahead, you go into OT. Josh Allen decides to call tails. It's heads. Kansas City gets the ball. And all they needed was that one drive. And this is what happened. It was a run by Clyde Edwards-Helaire for 4 yards. Then on second down, pass short to Byron Pringle for 5 yards. Patrick Mahomes on third down, pass to Travis Kelce to the Kansas City 10 for Kansas City 44 for 10 yards. They just walking down the field, no need to rush. Clyde Edwards-Helaire for 2 yards. Jerick McKinnon, 16 yards. And, Patrick Mahomes passed to Tyreek Hill all the way to the Buffalo 34 for 4 yards. Pass short to Mecole Hardman to the Buffalo 8 for 26 yards. And Travis Kelce, 8-yard TD pass from Patrick Mahomes. Here's my number one thing about this game. And the Kansas City Chiefs win 42-36. And, this was a sideline throw reminiscent of the Santonio Holmes catch from the Steelers Super Bowl win when he tippy-toed on the sidelines. And they reviewed it, and it worked out, and that was that. Here's the number one thing about that. When you are playing defense and you know that there are playmakers and you know that the game is on the line, those playmakers should never be left alone. I would be glued to Travis Kelce's hip. Him and Tyreek Hill, I don't care how fast Tyreek Hill is. I'm figuring a way out to do whatever I can to make sure that I lead that man toward the sideline, do whatever, anything. Travis Kelce is not fast to a point where he can break away from someone, but he does have great body control. He is a monster when he catches the ball. But you got to find a way to work it out somehow, some way. Travis Kelce wouldn't have been able to breathe without me taking some of the air that he was trying to suck in. I'm sorry. That's just basically what it is. You leave those people open and alone, they will make you pay every single time. It's extremely unfortunate that these things happen. But this tells you that defensive coordinators always look to be safe and not go for the kill. You got to be smarter than that. And I'm sorry, this is on the special teams and the defense. Josh Allen did everything he was supposed to last night. He did everything he was supposed to, man. And his defense and the special teams, unfortunately, let him down. You got to squib kick that ball to be able to start making him use some of that time and just make sure you put faith in your special teams that they can tackle and make sure that nobody gets too far and doesn't gain too much on the kick return. Then at the same time, you leave Patrick Mahomes less time. If he's got to run around and try to extend the play because he's about to get tackled and he has to throw up a crazy ball and you got 3 safeties deep, but you got everybody playing on top of these receivers, it makes life that much easier. But that's unfortunately what happened, man. So the AFC Championship is set. Kansas City versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati has to go to Arrowhead and try to go ahead and get that W. You can't give up 9 sacks to Kansas City because if you do, you're going to get blown out like something we've never seen before. So Kansas City and when you look at it just from a standpoint, Kansas City and Buffalo, man, 36 and 42, man, that's 78 points. That is a lot of damn points to score in one freaking game. You know what I mean? And that's what I thought. It was going to be a damn shootout. Look at the Rams and the Bucks. They scored 57 points. So that's and then us versus the Packers, we had the lowest output of the weekend, man. It was only 23 points scored in that game between both of us. So I thought it was going to be a shootout. It was a shootout. I'm so sorry, Tony, if you're watching, man. I was pulling for you guys. I really was, bro. But that special teams and that defense, unfortunately, wasn't able to hold up and get the W. But I know it was a valiant effort, and I'm so sorry, bro. I really would have liked to see you move on to the AFC Championship game, but fortunately, man, it is what it is, and we got to move on. I got to get to work. Appreciate everybody for stopping in and hanging out with your boy this morning. Shout out to John Lee, Andy Smith, all of my guys there. I'm going to go ahead and read through this really quickly. Even though fantasy football season is over, you can keep the excitement alive with MyBookie's double deposit bonus. Having your initial deposit matched up to $1,000 is like playing every game with the home field advantage. All you have to do is sign up, use promo code HIVE, HIVE, and get your funds credited to your account instantly so you can start placing your bets with MyBookie. With the NFL postseason in full swing, there's no shortage of games to choose from at MyBookie. Everyone knows that playoffs equals points. It's the best time of the year to hammer overs with every player out to make a name for themselves. Player props are a great way to find an edge. MyBookie is also home to exclusive contests that can be used to maximize your winnings and 2022 your best and make 2022 your best year yet. Don't miss out on your first deposit for up to $1,000. Don't miss out. Double your first deposit up to $1,000 by using promo code HIVE. That's HIVE. Place your bets and get ready for the intensity of playoff action. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. With these AFC and NFC championship games coming up, it is definitely going to be a great thing to go ahead and bet on. Appreciate y'all for stopping in. I got to get up out of here. Thank y'all so much. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay faithful. And most of all, go Niners.